Doug, thanks so much for coming on. So where are we with troop strength? I think most people, including me, don't have a precise sense of it.
Iran's war strategy has shaken Israel to its core, with military support pouring in from powerful allies like Russia, China, and Turkey. Iran has armed itself with deadly, state-of-the-art weaponry, sending a clear message of strength and defiance. Former U.S. Defense Advisor Colonel Douglas Macgregor warns that Israel's next moves, especially its reliance on nuclear threats, could push the region into chaos unlike anything we've seen. With tensions escalating and alliances shifting, is the Middle East on the brink of an all-out, unstoppable conflict?
I'm joined from Northern Virginia by retired Army Colonel Douglas Macgregor. Good evening, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Sure. Good evening.
The US are ramping up. Israel has said it will wipe Iran off the face of the earth if Hezbollah intervenes in Gaza.
Israel's reliance on the United States is one of the most well-known and critical alliances in international politics today. With the United States providing military, financial, and diplomatic support, Israel has been able to maintain a powerful stance in a region where it faces numerous hostile neighbors. Colonel Douglas Macgregor often highlights how deeply this dependency shapes Israel's strategic options and security in the Middle East. A clear example of this support is the astounding $18 billion in aid provided to Israel in 2024 alone. This financial backing goes beyond mere goodwill. It's the backbone of Israel's military operations, helping fund its defense technology, weaponry, and various security initiatives that it could not sustain independently. This aid allows Israel to keep up with its technological edge over its regional adversaries, ensuring it maintains its stature as a formidable force in the Middle East.
Then there's ignorance of the world, no understanding whatsoever of the danger in which Israel finds itself right now. Israel set out, in theory, to destroy Hamas.
But Israel's reliance on the U.S. extends beyond military aid. It is also highly political. According to Macgregor, Israeli leaders, including Prime Minister Netanyahu, have substantial leverage in U.S. politics, shaping policies that align with Israel's security interests. This influence transcends party lines, affecting decisions made by both Republicans and Democrats. The relationship goes back decades, with Israel positioning itself as a critical ally in a region where the U.S. has significant interests. The U.S. views Israel as a strategic partner, often siding with it diplomatically on international stages, including the United Nations. However, this close-knit relationship has its costs. For one, it creates a scenario where Israel might feel emboldened to pursue aggressive tactics, knowing it has the backing of the world's most powerful nation. This dynamic places the U.S. in a bind, often supporting Israel even when it may conflict with American public opinion or other international concerns.
And what's happening in Gaza. Instead of responding to this, the President of the United States historically always has, you're escalating. And this is something I think that Mr. Netanyahu is betting on very heavily, that Israel, together with our military power, can ultimately prevail.
The long-term implications of this dependency are complex. Israel's ability to sustain its military initiatives largely hinges on continued American support, which comes with its challenges. Financial aid of this magnitude isn't guaranteed forever, and growing concerns in the U.S. about Middle Eastern involvement could pressure future administrations to reconsider the depth of their support. Additionally, Israel's over-reliance on the U.S. risks creating a situation where it may lack the necessary regional allies to sustain peace if American support diminishes. This dependency also affects Israel's autonomy. Without U.S. backing, its ability to independently handle conflicts with Iran, Hezbollah, and other hostile forces would be severely compromised. Macgregor points out that while Israel benefits immensely from this alliance, it's a double-edged sword. The support is vital, but the reliance could become a strategic vulnerability if American priorities shift. Israel's future, in many ways, is tied to the whims of U.S. politics, a reality that could influence its long-term security and regional strategy.
We haven't kept up with that. And then finally, the President of the United States could end all of this very quickly. He could simply tell Mr. Netanyahu, that's it. No further. Stop. And at that point, the Israeli military establishment would have to hold its operation.
Colonel Macgregor has raised significant concerns about the prospect of nuclear warfare in the Israel-Iran conflict, particularly regarding Israel's potential use of nuclear weapons. With recent escalations in southern Lebanon and the heavy toll Israel has endured against groups like Hamas, there are fears that Israel might consider using a tactical nuclear weapon as a last resort option. This idea might seem far-fetched, but the pressure Israel faces, coupled with its advanced arsenal, makes it a real possibility. Macgregor warns that if Israel ever reaches a point where it decides to employ such drastic measures, the consequences could spiral out of control, leading to a new and dangerous chapter in the Middle East.
How could it be, Colonel, that it would appear that the US is contemplating a Middle East that no longer exists, that they're contemplating dealing with the Middle East of, I don't know, 30, 40 years ago? How can that be?
Using a tactical nuclear weapon, even in a limited capacity, would likely provoke a devastating reaction. The first issue is that once a nuclear weapon is used, it's challenging to control the fallout, both literally and figuratively. Other nuclear-capable nations, such as Pakistan or even Iran's allies like Russia, could interpret this as an existential threat to the region's stability and respond in kind. Iran, although not yet confirmed as a nuclear state, has allies who might be willing to step in with their nuclear capabilities, particularly if they see it as a defense of their interests. Additionally, deploying nuclear weapons could shift global alliances drastically. Countries that are currently neutral or supportive of Israel might reconsider their positions if Israel escalates the conflict in such a profound way. The ripple effects could reach as far as Europe and Asia, forcing nations to choose sides in a potential global crisis.
Turkey offers to mediate. Well, Secretary of State Blinken says US not interested. What happens next, Colonel?
Macgregor also emphasizes that Israel's potential nuclear use could dismantle the existing power dynamics in the Middle East. It could embolden other countries to pursue nuclear arms more aggressively, seeing it as a necessary deterrent against Israel. This would not only exacerbate the arms race in the region, but also bring new nuclear players into the fold, further destabilizing an already volatile area. Even the hint of nuclear warfare raises tensions across the board. For Israel, using such weapons may seem like a solution to a military problem, but it could quickly become a diplomatic disaster. The psychological impact on neighboring populations and the fear of nuclear fallout could lead to mass migrations and humanitarian crises, complicating the already tense situation.
Maybe we should lag it. What are the solutions?
Colonel Macgregor, is there a way out? I mean, are you optimistic or pessimistic that there's a way that can be navigated here? Or are we actually just going to have to watch a car crash and then pick through the wreckage?
Iran has been rapidly strengthening its military position, supported by an increasingly powerful set of alliances with countries like Russia, China, and Turkey. In recent years, Iran has been focused on building a formidable defense network in response to escalating tensions with Israel. This strategy isn't just about arming its military, but about forming alliances that shift the power dynamics in the Middle East. According to Macgregor, the Russian-Iranian partnership has been particularly impactful. Russia has supplied Iran with advanced military equipment, including state-of-the-art electronic warfare gear, missiles, and radar systems like the S-400 and S-500. These technologies aren't just defensive. They give Iran the capability to counter advanced military operations, including those from Israel.
Then they have any appreciation for what's happening in the Middle East. And frankly, most of them, I don't think, care. They've got their hands out for cash. And cash comes from many sources. All of those sources are pro-war. Once again, because there's no appreciation for the dangers involved.
China's involvement has added another layer of complexity. The Chinese government, seeing the strategic value in aligning with Iran, has made it clear that they would support Iran's sovereignty if it's ever at risk. Although this doesn't necessarily mean direct military intervention, China's assurance provides Iran with a powerful backer on the global stage. This partnership is further strengthened by China's reliance on Middle Eastern oil, particularly from the Strait of Hormuz, which Iran could control in a crisis. For China, protecting Iran's stability is directly tied to its economic interests, making this alliance both practical and strategic. With Russia and China's support, Iran has built a security network that isn't solely reliant on its internal capabilities. This external backing could dissuade Israel from acting too aggressively, knowing that Iran's allies are monitoring the situation closely.
To happen after Hezbollah attacks, because Hezbollah will inflict terrible losses on the Israelis? Or are we just committed unconditionally to fight this until Israel itself is destroyed? And that's my greatest fear.
Turkey's involvement has also added to the mix, though its role is more complicated due to regional rivalries. However, Turkey's position as a Sunni majority nation reaching out to a Shia majority, Iran signifies a shift in traditional alliances. This collaboration reflects a larger trend in the Middle East, where ideological divides are being bridged to counter Israel's influence. Macgregor highlights how the unity between Sunni and Shia powers, once seen as unlikely, is reshaping the region's alliances and creating a robust front against Israel. For Iran, these alliances not only deter Israel, but also enhance its regional influence, potentially setting the stage for it to become the dominant power in the Middle East. In recent developments, the assassination of a prominent Hezbollah commander by Israel has further strained tensions in the Middle East. The operation was executed with precision as an Israeli Defense Forces (IDF) drone targeted Hussein Ibrahim Kassab, a high-ranking Hezbollah leader in Lebanon. Soon after, the IDF released aerial footage of the strike, a move likely intended to send a clear message to Hezbollah and its allies about Israel's capabilities and willingness to act decisively against its adversaries. This high-profile assassination adds fuel to the already tense situation along the Lebanon-Israel border, where sporadic skirmishes and clashes have long defined the fragile peace. So, what are your thoughts on this? Let us know in the comments below.